Hello, 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 hello. Hmm, what's wrong? Hi, hi. You muted.
Okay. Hiya.
Hi. Okay, I can hear you very well.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay, let me. I need to make this live on Facebook, so give me a second while I
Okay.
just do my thing.
Awesome.
And I like the Marilyn Monroe hair foundation that you have going at the back.
It's
That
the
looks cute.
heat. It's not intentional.
If you think about it, when Marilyn Monroe did hers, she was under a manhole. Maybe it was a hit in New York, or maybe it was the rat smell. I don't know. Anyways, you look lovely. It's all to say.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I like
You're
the mic
welcome.
and every.
Oh, thank you. I tried to, put a little bit of something, something.
Good.
Oh, all right, let me just do my final blast, like send
Let
reminders
me
to
share
everybody.
it on the Facebook link too. So when you go
Yeah.
live on Facebook, I'll share the link
Yes.
to.
I don't even know whether I should just go ahead and do it now because that thing might just take. Let's see. So live on Facebook. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do it.
Okay.
It's been a while. I've been avoiding Facebook Live and Instagram
Why?
Live for a while now. They just been very spotty.
I like Instagram. I love Facebook Live. I like Facebook Live. I just love it.
I mean, Facebook Live is better than Instagram, but then it's still the same parents, right?
I think Facebook Live, because I know I'm on my laptop, I'm just far from it. Instagram Live, even if I'm on my phone, I don't like doing anything on my phone apart from posting on Instagram. WhatsApp, I
Yeah.
do it on my laptop. Everything I do on my laptop. I just don't like the small screen.
I don't like the small screen. I don't like that you can't like look at comments, like go back and look at. It's just it's just weird.
And
It's for people that don't want to engage, but they seem like they want to engage in a bit.
that's why I use eCam to go on Facebook Live. So
Okay.
I scroll back on the comments. I can pin comments to the screen and then respond to the comments. So it's quite, so I'm seeing the comments on the screen while I'm live.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you. You have a better grasp of it than most of us do. For those that are just joining us, thank you so much for joining
Hello.
us. We're gonna start. So I see this must be your friends because I don't recognize any of the names here.
Yeah, so that BC is my friend. We're in the same mastermind. Hi, BC.
Thank you for joining us. We're gonna get started soon. Just want to do one last blast so that I can get our community on here. And should I call you DK or Jonah? I feel like I know Tutu calls you
Hey,
Jonah. DK.
DK. Everybody
Okay.
calls me DK. Jonah is my surname.
I know, but Tutu was like, "Oh, Jonah." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't know her name was like. I knew your name was Jonah. I didn't know we could call her that. I was like, "Okay,"
Oh,
and
some
I
people
find
call
it
me
cute.
Joanna, actually. They think Joanna is
Ah,
my name.
I
I
see.
get
I
that
see.
all the time.
I like when girls bear like masculine names that are like a girl bearing like Elijah or Jonah. I find it very because I have a thing for names.
Oh,
So I
really?
find it a little bit. Oh yeah. I have a thing for names. I always like so when I ask a lot of my American friends, what does your name mean, and they don't know, I always go like, oh, maybe it's just a Nigerian thing. You know how most of our names have like
We attach a lot of things to names as Africans, as
yes,
Nigerians.
but a lot of people here that are not from maybe Africa or
But
even
these Nigerians, when you ask them their name and they're like, I don't know the meaning, I'm like, what? Oh, where are you from? I'm
exactly.
Yoruba. And what state? I'm Yoruba. I'm like, Auntie, where? Are you from?
Even some of my Korean friends are tired because their names have Chinese characters. They can tell you the Chinese character what it means like separately
Okay.
because they have 2 syllables. Most of the names have two
Really?
syllables, and it most of them stand for like hanja, which are Chinese characters. And I go
Oh,
like, so why were you named that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, what does fire and
Phoenix.
heaven together? Like, was that story at your birth? Like, no, that's just my name. And I'm like,
Names are
oh.
precious. Names are precious. All right. So I'm going to share what you've just tagged me in.
Okay, so yeah, it's actually going. The link is going. Wow, amazing balls.
Awesome.
All right, for
I'm
those that
still
are just
sharing
joining
that.
us, if you chat, somebody sent a hello, ladies. Oh, thank you. And if you have questions, you can put them on the comment link, and I'll get back to them as soon as we're talking. So I love to have questions from audience because it feels like it's your time as much as it's our time, So, are there any questions you have for GK? I'll go ahead and answer them. Just one last thing to do. Just one last thing to do. Such a weird word. I hope you're keeping safe too. I heard you guys are going into the second wave in the UK.
Oh, I haven't gone out, so they should go through the second wave if they want to. I've been home since March, and I am not going anywhere till December.
I love how you're just I don't like this is
No,
not
I've made
me.
up my mind. I've made up my mind. I have accepted what's going on.
Yeah.
I think that's the first thing we need to do with this COVID
That is
crisis.
rich though.
Is
I haven't fully accepted it because I've been having dreams about getting on airplanes. It's not even funny.
oh
You know how they
no,
say you shouldn't dream about some things. I've been dreaming about, giving a big hug to the air hostess when they ask me for my ticket, like the ticket people at the counter. I've been dreaming of, checking in. I've been dreaming of my oversized baggage because that's one of the things that happens to me when I travel. I just never know how to pack like in. I've been having a lot of dreams
I'm not.
about traveling. It's not healthy.
No, I am not even. I'm even dreaming of going to the corner store. That's my own dream.
What
The
is
day I'll
that?
be able to walk into the corner store, as into the
Oh,
supermarket or the store
just
there.
right there. Oh, I see, I see,
So
I see.
I've not even gone to the corner store since March.
Maybe that's just what we need to do.
And
Okay.
I have accepted it. I understood that I need to, safety comes first.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
rather than being in denial and saying, oh, I've just said, you know what, stay where you are and you'll be fine.
yeah, yeah. I agree. For those that are joining us on Zoom or Instagram Live, Facebook Live, just give us just one more minute. We're trying to shoot out messages to everybody to come join so
Yes.
we can
So
have a very
Kike is
robust
here also.
conversation.
Hi Kike. Hi Olabisi. Where's Folakemi? Is she on Facebook?
And like you're taking attendance. So.
Yes, you have to take attendance. No, because she just asked for the link. That's why I asked
Oh,
over.
nice. Okay.
She's like, send me the link, send me the link. So
Don't
I
even
sent
mind.
the Facebook link. Oh, so I don't know if she has gone on Facebook. I know I copied the Zoom link, so I'm sending the Zoom link to her.
You have it, right? Because I can send it to you again if you don't have it.
I have it. I think I clicked the link in your bio. I was going to send you a message to ask for it. I just said,
Oh, okay.
do some
Okay.
homework, a little, read the message. Sometimes we don't read messages. Like I
Thank
almost got
you.
into trouble. I didn't read a message that someone has sent to me like 8 times. I sent like 8 emails. And I finally read the emails because I was like, oh, time to check emails. And she's like, oh, I'll see you next week Saturday. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. She has an event, so I had to cancel on that today and say, I'm so sorry. She said, I just went
Yeah.
to pay last week. So probably we'll move yours to next week. So don't, if you're watching, I'm sorry for calling you late. But yeah.
Okay. Just one more.
I think we're getting everybody together. All right, so
Okay.
I've sent the link to
It's
everyone
done
I
yours.
think needs to watch it on Facebook, or I've even sent to some people I never think of sending to before. Let me do it on Instagram. Instagram stories.
Who else again? Oh, okay. Jeff. Okay. I think I'm done with mine. Anyone that wants to join now can, join for a couple. Oh, See what's in room. Oh my gosh, I mean people. Oh, the Popolas are here.
Hey, hey, Tutu. Hey,
Hey
Tutu.
people. Okay. All right. Well, while you're doing that, I'm just gonna go ahead and start with a jingle. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mo. I am the host of this platform called the Sibyl podcast, and I describe it as a podcast for Blacks and Asians and those who love them. I believe in sharing stories to connect people because I have a strong philosophy that I live by, and that I refuse to do life alone. I believe in the impact of community, and I also believe in helping people set their stories free because I have experienced a lot of freedom in giving words to a lot of the hurts and the triumph and everything that I have gone through, and so it's what I try to replicate on the show. Today is not gonna be and it's not gonna be any different from what we've done on the live show. In that we have a phenomenal person here whose story I think is gonna leave us, feeling encouraged. So I might cry a little bit because I remember I was really teary eyed when we had a talk like last month. But it's a multiple podcast. So if you love any of this content, there's plenty more where came from. Check out the Facebook page, the Mercible Podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram at MOSIBYL. The website is www.mosible.com. What else? I have a weekly podcast episode that I do every Thursday. So you can check out iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcast, pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts lately. All right. Without further ado, I think this is just the right time to kind of get started and officially bring our lovely guests. And for those that are just joining us as well, please, if you have questions, type them in the comment section. I can see Facebook and I can see through Zoom. So whatever you get your questions on, you want to ask DK, that would be more than wonderful. All right, so today we're going to talk about invisible illness, but there's a story behind that and there's a person behind that. Her name is Daukoru Jonah. She's popularly known as DK, despite all of what has she's been through and what she currently has to deal through. She hasn't let that hold her back. She has two master's degrees, one in international security and diplomacy, and she's also passionate about helping people unlock their creativity. She's also passionate about her faith and also leads a Bible study. So today we'll be talking about just her journey from um, birth till now and everything she's doing to kind of put body and soul together. So without further ado, everyone join me in welcoming the beautiful DK to the podcast.
Hello, Mo. How are
Hello
you
there.
doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And special shout out to the Pokwalas, especially
Well,
Tutu
that's
and Mr. Kenny. Thank you so much for introducing me to this spectacular human being. I think the first time we talked, which was like July, it was that Friday. It was supposed to be like 30 minutes conversation, but you and I just kept talking for like, it was like, wow, we could have just done a podcast episode out of this. Yeah.
honestly, it was a
Yeah,
good conversation.
it was. And I mean, I took so much from that experience that I was able to come up with these 2 pages of questions for you. All right.
Really?
Oh yeah, I don't do things
Fingers
like
crossed.
fingers crossed. But don't worry, nothing to throw you apart. Let's start. I always like starting from the beginning, because even in the Bible,
Okay.
in the beginning, there was the word. So just walk us through in simple, in short sentences, like how did you grow up? What's your family dynamic like? How many siblings do you have? And what was your personality like as a child? Casting your
Um,
memory back then.
okay. Let's think. I grew up in a military environment. My dad was in the Navy, and my mom, we had to make a sacrifice at home and we grew up with my mom practically because my dad was hardly around. And I'm the fourth of 5 children. So I have 3 sisters and 1 brother. So I'm not in the middle. I'm not the last. I'm just the fourth, and I like my position. I'm the favorite fourth child. Like my sister calls herself the favorite third child. So I'm the favorite fourth child. I've always been calm and quiet and very introverted and into myself. Well, I was a tomboy. So my name was always in the boys' register because they did not know any girl with that name. And they're like, oh, there's no girl like this in this class. And my name was always in the boys' register. At home, I was very rough. At school, I was very calm. And some people don't still know my name till date. They call me Joanna, they call me Jonah, because I met someone from primary school and I felt we were friends. I was like, hi, Mary, how are you? She was like, I'm good. She was like, Joanna, right? I was like, Joanna? Yes, Joanna. And sometimes I just allow it pass. Whenever you call me, I respond to.
Yeah.
I was in the choir till I was 13. I heard my voice and I dropped out of the choir and I haven't gone back since.
Good for you.
I
Thank
was
you
in
for
the
saving
dance
us.
group.
Thank you for saving us from that.
I was in the dance group, and all these were in church. So after secondary school, I joined the dance group, and I couldn't dance. So I was always, they say go left, I'm going right. They say move forward, I'm moving back. I was just a disaster, but I was the most committed. I showed up on time. I had all the music. I had everything, so they could not throw me out. But I had to leave freely. Because I was like, thank God there were no cameras back then. So I'm someone that is a go-getter. Once I get my mind to something, I just go for it. I have always been like that. Growing up, I had challenges with my health and we did not know what was wrong. So I had a situation when I was in uni that I knew during the semester that I was definitely going to fall sick. So
Yeah.
whenever I am at school, I give my best to my studies. And even when I was growing up, I give my best to my studies because I know for a couple of weeks I'll be out of the system and then I will have to come back. And it's not like the world pauses when that happened. The
No,
world
everything
doesn't
goes
pause.
on.
It
Yeah.
goes on. So you're going to have to learn what people have learned while you were away and learn the new things. And sometimes it could be confusing when you go into class. So you're trying to juggle so much. So I've always passed and moved forward. But I realized that I was really more than average. I didn't realize I was really more than average till later when we figured out what was wrong because
Wrong with
it's
you.
in like a big, long challenge, just surviving and thriving and moving on. So that's the summary. So growing up in a military environment was fun because I had them back in Nigeria. I had people from different tribes that I grew up in. I loved the fact that we could go out and play. We could sing till our neighbors had to start thinking about how they were going to get eardrums blocked not to hear us sing, or with our lovely voices we could sing at the top of our lungs. And I think there were people that are living, I think you and they listen to this, she was living like a couple of blocks away from us, or we're not friends then growing up. When we became friends, she was like, you guys were always singing as kids. We're like, these children are singing kids. So once they take light, we're all on the stairs and
And
singing
just
and stuff.
singing.
So I love
Mm.
music, but I don't sing
It's
again.
good. There are many kinds of music lovers. There are those that can sing in the shower. There are those that are patrons of the arts. They donate towards and those that enjoy music. So it's okay as long as you don't hate
Yeah.
music. That's good.
I actually love music. I love
There you go.
musicals. My favorite movie is Phantom of the Opera.
I love that
I am
too.
so it's like, oh, can you beat him Phantom? I'm like, Phantom, even when she was known that Raoul wanted to snatch her. So I was
Exactly.
Team Phantom. I'm Team Phantom all the way. And yeah, that's just a little about me.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I like Phantom too. I love a lot of songs from them. Now let's
Oh
go
yeah.
back. Let's go back a little bit. Like when did you think? You, I studied rare diseases, and I also happen to live with one of them. And I know there's something they
Mm-hmm,
call diagnosis odyssey. In that it takes a while for sometimes for the symptoms to kind of coalesce, and not as if coalesce on your part, but for the person on the other end of the spectrum, maybe a doctor or a nurse or whoever your caregiver is, to able to paint the picture, to put all the puzzles together and come up with, I think this
mm-hmm,
looks like that. So, but then chances are you probably have been going through a lot of the,
mm-hmm.
symptoms way before. If you can
Way.
remember, how did the symptoms start, and then what was the first confirmed diagnosis you had? And,
The
and
same.
also to add to that, how long did it take for you to get like a final like a
Oh.
confirmed diagnosis?
The symptoms started. In fact, I did not know some of the things that I was going through were symptoms till I got the diagnosis when I was 20. That was in 2014. And I met Professor Rodney Graham. I've seen so many professors, so I'm trying to remember who. And he shook my hand and he said a couple of things. I was like, oh, were you clumsy as a child? Did you used to fall? Was I asking, were you sickly as a child? And he was just asking so many questions. And I'm like, I felt like the woman by the well that met Jesus Christ and he was telling her life and she wasn't telling. That's exactly what I wrote in my diary when I got home.
Yeah,
Usually when I
yeah,
meet doctors, I am the one saying, I feel tired, I feel this, my joints are this. I am the one telling them what is wrong. But in less than 3 minutes, I met someone and he was telling me and asking the right questions that no one else had ever asked me. So going back to that, it started from my childhood, but we did not know what it was. It had a situation where, and I started having, I used to have really, really bad menstrual pains, like 2 weeks in the month. I am down completely. So there are so many exams I have written on my knees. In pain, crying and writing and going through the normal. People think you're crying because the exams are hard, but you're crying because you're like, okay, it's the back. No, it's the peg. Oh, it's this, it's that. Then I've had issues with my skin. I've had issues with pain generally and fatigue. Like if I go travel, I could go without sleeping, and then all of a sudden I am unable to wake up as with so much energy. So my energy level has always fluctuated. When I turned 15, 16, it started getting worse. By the time I was 17, I was in uni. It was just really, really bad that affected my bones. The mistake most people used to make was they thought it was malaria.
Yeah.
So they just say, oh, you're having malaria. Oh, it's typhoid and malaria. It's typhoid and malaria. It's typhoid and malaria. And growing up, I'll be like, typhoid and malaria.
All the time.
Okay. All the time. Typhoid and malaria. They say typhoid and, oh, you know, yeah, A people are always getting typhoid or malaria. That's just it. So you just live with it. Then, in uni, they told me to stop eating certain food. I should stop eating in the cafeteria. I was like, that's not possible. If you have to give me, okay, I'm someone that if I don't understand the reason, I'm not.
You won't abide. It's hard for you to abide. You have to know the whys.
I saw a professor when I was 22, and he was like, "Oh, you have to eat lettuce and this and lots of vegetables." I turned to him, I said, "Do I look like a goat to you?" The man was like, "Nobody has ever asked me that question." I was like, "You have to be more specific. You can't tell me to eat a bowl of lettuce. Tell me why." I was like, "I've never heard this question before in all my classes. This is the first time." And I was like, I've never been told all my life that I need to start eating a bowl of lettuce all the time. So I also want to know we are both at the same. And that's the thing with me. I'm a very shy person, but once in a while, the boldness just comes and I just speak my mind. And then when I speak, I now shrivel. I'll be like, what did I just say? What did I just do? So I've had a situation where I go into hospitals. Some doctors could be rude, very, very rude. They're like, small girl, she has come, she's pregnant. That's the first thing they say. Anthony, I'm in pain. I'm squeezed in. I am just rolling. And that's so they ignore you. They're like, oh, you know, these girls. And I'm like, attend to me first before you jump to conclusions. Like, first of all, even if I am, which I'm not, treat the situation, handle it with care. Or, so it's been over, I can take 5, it's almost 20 years of going back and forth with this.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been like that for a while. So if see you are coming out, everybody knew. My friends knew, my roommates knew. The time they said my nails were turning green just because I had refused to eat. That time I did not know I had irritable bowel syndrome. I just knew that when I ate, I had this mess and something just didn't want to eat it. It on huddled together to force me to eat. Like everybody came together, they pinned me down, and then Trauma sat out on my tummy and they started fast feeding me. Of all people, it's Trauma that even placed in this position. Then so we've got through ups and downs, and I've had friends. I can understand that they were doing it from a place of love because they were like, okay, you've not eaten all day. You need to eat to get better. Yeah. But eating was making it worse. And so it's just been a roller coaster all the while.
I mean, I can't even imagine what you've gone through. It's one thing for you to go through all of those symptoms, and another thing for you to go to a healthcare system that, you know, the role is to alleviate symptoms and improve quality of life. And then you're being second guessed, you know, that concept of medical gaslighting, and then even the support to be able to, like, you know, get all the help you need, you know, is not there. So I'm just curious to know. So
it's crazy because now you talk about it happened in 3 continents. So it happened to me in Africa, it happened to me in Europe, it happened to me in Asia, in India. All of them had the same dismissive attitude towards it. It's like it's in your head, there's nothing wrong with you. I waited 6 months for an appointment once, and after getting in to see the doctor, it was a rheumatologist. And and before that, I waited like 3 months before that. So I waited almost a year to see that, to get that referral. I finally got to the doctor's office. I got in and she just said, "Oh, yeah, I'm mobile. You're not supposed to see me." Blah, 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 and just wrote something dismissive and just said, "Oh, bye." And I'm like, I was in shock. So I got home and I'm not emotional. I don't cry easily. But when you now start talking to, just leave me on my own. When you now talk and I have to start explaining to you, the tears will just start flowing.
Yeah.
So I got home and I just sat down. I was just confused. My housemate came in. I was now explaining to myself, what happened? What happened? What happened? People just came in and said, "DK, what happened?" I said, "I waited 6 months for nothing. So I have to wait another 6 months for a referral again." I then just started crying. Bimbo was confused. She did not know what to do. She called my sister. She was like, "Okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?" That time we still did not, and that was in the UK. The
Yeah,
woman just
and it's
dismissed.
funny. I like how you mentioned that because people think that Nigeria is just like a bad healthcare
Oh, no.
system. No, like you understand that this whole so I have gone through a similar with that with gynecological issues, and the
Mm-hmm.
only and also being married to a physician who I know loves his job, does a good job to try to advocate for his patients. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
these are human beings. Number two, they get burnt out, and number three, there's also that part of things that if they feel like you haven't responded to treatment, or the frustration that comes from this girl again, like there's nothing they can do, rather than them just have a conversation with you and see what we can do together, then you
Mm-hmm.
become the one to blame when the treatments are not working or when you didn't get the diagnosis right. And to me,
Yeah.
that's like the most inexcusable part of it. Like I
Yeah.
understand that your ego trip as a doctor is to cure me or maybe make me better than I was, but sometimes it's not quite as simple as go do that test or go take this medication. If they'll have more dialogue and more just talking more with people who have this chronic, invisible illnesses. There's just so
Mm-hmm.
much you can learn. Why not just be dismissive? That I can't even take. I've had to fire so many doctors because
Oh,
it's just they start making it seem like it's all in your head. Like you don't look like you're in that much pain. I'm like, you have no idea. You know, you have no idea what I go through.
it's crazy. As in, I go for an appointment. Doctor is like, "Okay, it's a 15-minute appointment, so we can only treat one part. So you choose which is worse. Is it the migraines? Is it the stomach pains? Is it the pains when you walk? Is it the fact that you're out of breath? Is it the fatigue? Choose one that you want us to focus on." So I would now start doing my pain scale. Okay, which one is worse? And then I'm like, I don't know, because they're all the same. I can't be dismissive. The migraines make it, I'm not responding because the migraines were so bad that I was sensitive to noise, light, and sound. Figured out that those were my three triggers: noise, light, sound,
How can you
and
escape that? How do you
smell.
escape light?
And smell.
How do
So
you
I
escape
will,
anything?
they said I start wearing shades in the house. So I will have my curtains closed, my windows closed, so that the noise from traffic is not distant. Then I will switch off the lights. Have no music playing. I won't answer my calls so that's okay. The lights from the I tried everything. So they said, oh, they gave me injections around my head to help with the migraines. We tried
Botox, yeah.
I tried Botox. I tried the nerve blockers also. Nerve blockers didn't work for me. We did the upright MRI. I was just, in fact, the upright MRI day was just the funniest day ever.
Sounds so
I just,
claustrophobic.
I just sleep off and the minute drops. They were frustrated with me, and me, I was so happy that I was sleeping. See, the things that excite me don't excite other people. I was so excited. I was like, I'm sleeping, finally. And those was like, you have to be awake. I was like, no, if the sleep comes, wherever the sleep comes, we take it and we live with it. And she was just frustrated. But they forget that we're not just part of the book. We are experiencing, when I add mappings. Okay, for those that know, I have a couple of things. I've got postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I've got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I've got Marfan syndrome. So with Marfan syndrome, I was confused. So I go, "What's Marfan syndrome?" She said, "They're just describing you." And I'm like, I don't understand. There are just so many things in this letter that, oh, at least I've understood parts. I've understood that it's an autonomic nervous system. I understand that one of my vocal cords is subluxed. I've understood that. But Marfan syndrome, I don't understand what it means. She was like, oh, they're just describing you, just leave it. And I'm like, it's being dismissive. Oh, then you have to go. So I remember a day I called a 111 and we were having a conversation because I actually called them before I go in to chat with them. I'm like, should I come or
And
should I
that's
not?
your emergency hotline in the UK, just to be clear, right? Okay.
Yes, that's an emergency hotline. That's not the ambulance. That's just the emergency hotline.
Okay.
That's when you talk to someone. So I started calling them, and I called, and the lady said, "Oh, okay. Do you have Marfan syndrome also?" When she was asking, so I said, "Oh, I forgot I had that." She said, "Yeah." I was like, "I forgot," and then she was almost in tears, and I'm like, "Why are you reacting this way?" She said, "Oh, I forget you have it." I said, "You don't understand the brain fogs. The brain fogs are bad, are really, really bad." I just like, "But you sound calm about it," and I'm like
What am
panicking
I supposed
about
to
it.
do? Go hysterical and then I'll be like that angry black person that you're wanting
And
to
they said,
be.
"Oh, whenever I call them, I'm just too calm." And they're like, "Wait, you can, you have to panic so they take you serious." So there was a day I called them, and Emma was on the phone with me when the ambulance came in, and I was just calm and telling them, "Oh, okay, hi," and I just started shouting, "Don't take that girl serious. She's in pain." And she was just giving. They said, "Oh, your mom was giving us a handful." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "She's just too calm because stress triggers it." And once you get stressed out and you this thing, you start panicking, it makes your symptoms worse.
What?
So
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
to learn to manage the stress over the years and understand that it's about the way I see it and the way I communicate it. The negative part about that is because you're calm,
People just
doctors
don't
don't
think
take
it's that serious. Yeah. And it's so sad because if to have an invisible illness is to have something that they come with so many subjective, symptoms
it.
like fatigue, like chronic fatigue syndrome. Do you know how many
Oh,
people that have been affected by that, especially quality of life, and then especially with productivity? But it's something
mm-hmm.
that you can't really measure. Like if I draw your blood sample right now, there's no objective indicator to say, oh, yeah, these values are low, so she has chronic fatigue syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And so a little bit about me for those that don't know is that I have gone through so many gynecological issues. I have endometriosis, I have ovarian cysts, I've had multiple surgeries. I'm losing like like fingers to like count how many surgeries I've had. And the last time I went to see two times before the last time I went to my gynecologist, she said the same, almost same thing your doctor said was like, I know you want to get pregnant and I know you are in serious pain, but if I were to make you get pregnant, you're gonna have a lot of pain. So choose one between your fertility or your life. It
Wow.
boiled down to that. And but she was really frank. Like even though it wasn't what I wanted to hear,
Mm-hmm.
whatever she's going to do to help me get a lot better as far as pain and my fatigue is going to unravel everything with fertility. And they
Mm-hmm.
always present you with that the devil or the deep blue situation. And I know that Western medicine, it's very, very, this is one of my drawbacks of Western medicine. For all the good it's done, is that it makes people, they present you like as if you're a fragment, you know, and they don't do this holistic way of, treating you. But let me even ask you, like, we're going to talk about trauma. Has any of your doctor even sat down to ask you, like, did you have any trauma? Is there anything that traumatizes you?
No.
Can you imagine that?
Okay. Yes. No. Okay. Say yes and no. So when I started seeing Professor Rodney Graham, the person that eventually diagnosed it, because he's actually the person that found out about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is what I have, which is joint hypermobility syndrome. It has to
Yeah,
do
syndrome,
with the
connectivity issues, yeah, your
collective
collagen.
disorder. So he's Professor Rodney Graham. I got to meet him before he retired. He then said, "There is no way you'll be going through this amount of pain that it will not have affected you negatively in your mind. You are a positive person, I understand, but we have to take care of it. We have to understand that this is difficult. You need therapy. You cannot handle this on your own. You've been fighting this fight on your own practically for years. I know you say there is family with you, That's what he said. I know you say that you've got family, you've got the support, you've got your faith and everything helping you out, but you've not been able to deal with the trauma of the pain.
Mm.
So that's the angle he came from, saying that you are handling this on your own, but you are not handling it properly. You are not addressing the issues. What you're doing is repressing, and one day everything is just going to come out, and you will
Bubble
not
will
like.
burst. Yeah, the
So if the
bubble will
bubble
burst.
bursts and you do not handle it properly, then it's a problem. So what Professor already now did was, okay, go for CBT. At first, I rejected. I refused to go for CBT. I was like, I have the Holy Spirit. I'm a Christian. I don't need therapy. I rejected it completely. And then because I just felt that it's not something we should do. Because they suggested hypnosis to find out, okay, let's try and go back a bit and see where it all started from. And Professor already said, let's deal with the present before we go back a bit, because she's still dealing with a lot right now. What's her mindset? How is she coping? What are her coping mechanisms? How is she interacting with people? How is she dealing with rejection, failed relationships with friends, with every other person? How is she coping now? We need to get her to a certain level where she is okay before you even think about digging deep into anything. Let's start with the present and go back. So cognitive behavioral therapy was quite good. It's really helped me understand. I think I've had a couple of times. It really made me understand certain things that I was doing that were wrong or that had become coping mechanisms for me. For example, I will be having a flare-up. What I've discovered is called a flare-up. A flare-up is when your symptoms get worse.
Yeah.
So
And they're related to
I'm
autoimmune
not
issues.
having
They're
a
related to autoimmune issues most of the time.
yes. So when I have a flare-up, my rational way to deal with pain was to clean. So I could be having a major flare-up, and then
I feel judged.
and cleaning and everywhere. I'm cooking. No, I'm moving into my nails. Everybody was coming. I had to move out of my other place because I was like, that's the only way. The stairs and everything was just a bit too much. Working from the station, I feel like I didn't move with my big pots. I will cook and invite people over. I was a pepper soup queen. Kenny will testify. I have made pepper soup for a wedding. Everyone was like, Adike, you can do this as a business. Blah 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 blah. I was good at that. I loved having people over. But then when they go and I would then start cleaning. Even when everywhere is clean, you still see me stressed out, looking for something to do. My housemates could come back and the things that were in the left of the cabinet are moved to the right. She's like, what did you do? We had no idea it was a coping mechanism. That the way I learned to cope with pain was by doing more. But what I was doing was making my system crash instead, because you have a crash and CBT helped me understand that I don't need to do anything.
You don't need to do that. And I think it's also another way of gaslighting yourself. Not to believe that the pain is real. Because I do that as well. And me,
really?
me, therapy helped me. No, seriously, I feel like you're just judging me. And I'm married, right? And then by the time I'm done, I'm almost dying. I'll now be taking out of the anger on my husband. Because I'm telling him I'm in pain, but I'm doing all of this stuff. So I'm sending mixed signals. And he goes, why did you have to do all of that? And
What they're doing is
gaslighting yourself. It's a way of just saying you don't want to like come to terms with the fact that like the pain is coming, but it's like it can't be real. Let me prove to myself that it's just self-sabotage. So when doctors gaslight you, it's like, don't worry, I do work for myself. So can I move on? Like, what are you guys doing? Yeah.
It's self-sabotage. It's self-sabotage, but it's also whoa. If this thing comes and my flare-up is lasting 3 to 5 days, how will the other people survive? What's going to happen in the house? Okay, let me quickly do this,
do something so they won't think of me. Yes,
exactly. Yeah. Especially when I was working, I worked in a call center for a while. I could be, that time my vocal cords, I don't know what happened, I was subluxed. When your joints are subluxed, it means they are not in position properly. Vocal is a bit bent. I'll be on the phone with a client and my phone my voice just goes.
And of all places, of all the job requirement where voices are needed.
And then my voice just goes boom. And then I'm like, I can't hear you. I was transferred the call to somebody. It was just a disaster. So eventually I resigned and decided to go back for my second master because I was like, I don't have to talk to anybody. I can use that period. I was always complaining about the way international security was being done. And I studied international relations for my first degree. Then I went into human resources. I did international human resources and I did international security and diplomacy. But the reason I went back for that was because I was like, okay, I needed time to think about what I wanted to do. And even if I was in a call center, I was always complaining about the way the president in Nigeria was handling international security. And rather than complaining, I was like, okay, why don't I go and learn about it? And that's how I went to learn.
So people will go and watch YouTube to learn about it, but no, you went to do another master's.
Understand this is, so I was like, I want to make informed decisions. I want to be part of the solution. I had my Superman cape. I have the I don't want to be part of the problems. I want to bring a solution. What ways can I bring a solution if I do not study it and understand it completely? The knowledge I have is not enough. I need to acquire new knowledge. So I was like, I saw this international security and diplomacy course that now I had more time to think about what I wanted to do. Like goalpost keeps changing, but thank God for my family because the goalpost has changed the year that goes in another area branding. But then I keep pushing, and so during that period was when I got finally diagnosed. I went to India, and India was like, "Oh, nothing is wrong with you," but they gave me a suitcase filled with medication, and I was
nothing is wrong with you.
And they're like, oh, it's only this, it's only something, it's only this, it's only this, it's only this. I'm like, all these onlys that you're calling. So they gave me a nebulizer to help with my breathing. And that time we did not know it was POTS. They gave me this. I kept on looking at the medication. And that's when the doctor came into my room. Just simple. As in, I was just like, I'm done with you people. They were talking. I just turned my back and backed them. I didn't say a word to them because they were being very dismissive. They were like, "Oh, you should. I already have irritable bowel syndrome. And guess I certain I sweet potatoes, nice shape, no tomato, no potatoes, no this." So I told you the requirements I had come in. So I had come to you for a proper diagnosis. At least your nutritionist should run some tests than being dismissive and saying, "Oh, you're thin because you just don't want to eat." So it was a file there. And when I called, I was like, I want to change my ticket. And they said, "Oh, they are going to discharge me." I changed my ticket and I came back to London. Because there they did not pay attention. I think most invisible illnesses, this is how it works. But the outside world, you know, going through this, we didn't know. And even to the doctors, are not telling me something. Because I was like, "Oh, they say I have another syndrome again." She was like, "It's complicated when it comes to that," because I saw a cardiologist that was a professor, and that was the rudest professor I have ever met. So I was told I had mast cell activation disorder, and they wanted me to see a cardiologist. And it was like, "I don't believe in all this diagnosis. I feel you're just wasting your time." Anyway, I'll tell you what I think later. I waited 6 months to see him. That's all. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, but I had been there before, so I was prepared. I'm not going to force.
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. But you're frozen. Okay, you're back.
Yes, yeah, I don't know. I think my network bandwidth is actually low. I don't know what's happening in the Americas.
Okay.
But
So I came for his professional opinion, and he had given me his professional opinion. So to me, that was fine. But I think it's what I discovered. I'm sure what you discovered also is that you have to keep pushing, or else they will push you aside, make you think it's in your head. You keep telling there's something. I'm tired. They tell you go and sleep. Even if I sleep, I'm still exhausted. or you're not sleeping properly. Oh, even if I eat, I still feel I feel incomplete evacuation when I open my bowels. Oh, you need to eat oranges. Okay, I'm eating the oranges. I'm following the diet. I'm doing everything. You need to exercise. Okay, I'm
See,
exercising, but then the night.
there's always something. There's always something they'll pick up. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's always something. Maybe you know, you're a bit listen and all that. For me, it's like, oh, have you been exercising? Yes. Do you eat this? Do you eat that? Because when things don't work the way they're supposed to do, guess who they're gonna blame?
You.
And it's not enough they are going through all of this, the throws and the woes. Now I understand that in diet and exercise, those are things you want to incorporate in, but
Yes,
it's not
I
what's
agree.
possible things. Like even if you egg, it doesn't still take away from the fact that you can still eat all the right things, but some things are just so deeply iatrogenic that
Mm-hmm.
diet is not gonna take it away completely.
No,
It might
it's
help,
not.
but it's
It's not.
because of it.
It's
I didn't eat tomatoes when I was younger. Didn't Wasn't what caused me to start having this kind of these symptoms. And yes, I agree with what you two are saying. I think there's another pervasiveness. I don't know how it's like in the UK, but in the US here, as someone that has gone that has endometriosis, which there's so many layers of, uh, like I don't want to call it racism or something like that, but
Mhm.
there's a pervasiveness in the healthcare system in that as a black woman they look at you like your level of pain, like the threshold of pain should be
The
high.
threshold of pain. Like,
Yes,
yes.
like like you don't look like that. You don't look like that. And I've spoken to a lot of my friends who go through and they're talking about when we're talking about pain management here in the US, a lot of what they use is opioids. And I don't use that because it just makes me itch and it doesn't solve my problem. And
Mm-hmm.
so I avoid that. And I belong to those class of people where because I don't ask for opioids, they tend to at least look at me more favorable. I have friends who have to be on opioids because of their pain.
Mm-hmm.
And they look at them like they're drug seekers, or people that are already addicted to drugs. And I mean, I don't know how it's like in the UK, but I know here in the US.
I think it's the same thing, but I too don't take opioids because I've got fibromyalgia and most of the painkillers they give me practically don't work. What's going on?
Who's that person? Oh my
I
God.
have
On
no idea.
Okada. Please mute yourself. All right. Sorry, go
All right.
on.
So it's it was from my job. So it was when they put me on tramadol and they were like, "Well, you need to give your ID and stuff before they can give it to you." I'm like, I'm not actually seeking meds. I want a solution. I can't be a med for over 15 years and then I'm not seeing anything with the
Yeah.
pain. So
Yeah.
you're just giving me more meds
It
to do
just
what?
not. It just masks the sensation, but it doesn't, you know, go
It
to.
does. It doesn't deal with. So I want to get to them. I'm tired of medication. My medications, I still take them. So to help me pick up my last one. Message has helped me pick them up. But there are quite a lot, and there would have been a lot more if not I said, no, tell me what's going on before we
Yeah.
start going on medication. I
I
don't just
I don't
want
even like medications. I
I
mean, I'm a
don't like
pharmacist, and
medication.
I know that's like saying a butcher that doesn't like meat. I have so many unused medications that they give me. I just because I always go like it's not going to solve the problem long term, and then I start dealing with I don't even like
Side
swallowing
effect.
anything like that. The
The
side
side
effect,
effect.
and it's like no, I'm not going to do that. Now,
The side effects are really, really bad. Sometimes the brain fogs are. I don't know if you have brain fogs, but brain fogs are so bad that um I could smell something burning in my house, and I'm like, who is cooking in this building? Young lady, you're the one cooking. You started cooking how many minutes ago? You've forgotten that you are cooking. That's how bad brain fogs can be. You could be in front of your house, you don't know where you are because of medication that you're taking. It affects your cognitive behavior, it affects you in so many ways. I went from being able to write dissertations with people and for people camping in my house and me supervising them and telling them what to do, to being unable to write my dissertation at all. During my second master's, I had to ask for extra time to write my dissertation. And my lecturers were so supportive because the thing I do is when I have the energy, I show up 500%. So I was my class representative. I had shown up so well. I was helping the other international students that just came in, especially the ones from Asia that had language barrier. So
English,
I would
yeah.
take them in and I'll be like trying to explain idiomatic expressions and say, oh, this is what the lecturer meant question. Okay, let's read it again. So I was doing all know they were aware. So when I just said I can't write, they knew that I wasn't playing. And they're like, all right, take all the time you need at no extra cost. I was like, whoa, okay. So they gave me that permission to do that, which was kind of easy to achieve in UK than in Nigeria. So the medical system here and the educational system here takes some illnesses like invisible illness as disabilities, able to get a little bit more leeway to get things done. But the brain fogs are not a joke. You forget where you are. You forget every single thing because of medication or because of the symptoms that are,
You're
because
having.
your system is working. So my doctor told me when I was complaining about the fatigue and the brain fog, he said your autonomic nervous system is working 10 times the way that it should be working. So with POTS, when you stand up, rather than your heart rate being this rate, yours
Just, yeah,
skyrockets. So
skyrocket. It's only relieved by laying down, and you can't lie down all day long.
I
Things
have a
have to be
friend,
done.
because when we went for a retreat where we had, first time I met people that had POTS, and it was, in fact, it was so much fun. We were all exchanging notes and ideas. She said, wherever she is in the world, she doesn't care. She has like this big scar or something. She just lays down. Once she doesn't care where she is. People will say she's drunk. That's your business. And that's what we had to learn. You're allowed to think what you want to think. I know
Yeah,
what's happening to me. So
yeah,
I just
yeah.
go to an explanation to start explaining, oh, I'm tired because if you've asked, it's a different thing. I can tell you. But I'm not going to defend myself like I used to try and
I'll
defend
try to do
myself.
everything to make you comfortable, so that way I'm the burden of being uncomfortable will lie solely on me. No, it should go
No,
both ways. I'm trying to thrive. I'm trying to thrive through an invisible illness here, okay?
mm-hmm,
And just to answer your question, I mean, with what I have with endo, I don't go through fuck, but when I was on medications, specifically Lupron, the one my doctor gave me, I felt like I was just the woman on the brink of hell. I ran red lights. And I'm always, I stick to the role. My bones were brittle. I was having hot flashes. Like I was in menopause. I ran red lights twice, and I'm not that kind of person. I don't get it. Like I'm not that kind of person. I ran red light twice. My bone was brittle. I was forgetting a lot of stuff. I couldn't smell. And I told my doctor, this drug is not working for me. It's not working for me. It's actually making it worse. Well, he goes, well. Then the nurse was one that actually helped me. So it's like, the way you're describing it is bad. Like, I don't think I've had patients prescribing like this. She told me to start swimming and start doing yoga. Swimming in the winter, I had to go and find heated pool because because the medication was for 3 months. It was a depot injection. So once they give you that one shot,
mm-hmm.
it carries you through the whole month. And then
Okay.
at last, I went on Google and I found out that, by God, that this medication, there's actually a lawsuit against the manufacturers, and a lot of doctors just push it, on women with endometriosis, even though it doesn't really work for everybody. For most of the people, I've had people that have had like irreversible nerve damages, or they never got back any of those symptoms that they never got the feeling, back. So
Mm-hmm.
the medication just kind of like derailed their life. I should
Mm-hmm.
thank God because it didn't permanently derail them. But just to go to stick to your point of brain fog, like I know with patients with lupus because I work with them a lot. They talk about
Mm-hmm.
that a lot. People just having to let go of their dreams. I had a patient who wanted to be in the police ever since she was young. At the age of 13, she started going to police academy, and then grew older, and then lupus hit when she was 18, and then she just
Whoa.
had to give up all of that because she couldn't remember anything. How can you be a detective? Because she wanted to be a detective and you cannot remember clues. Like, talk about
Mm-hmm.
conflict of interest. So people go through a lot that we don't really see, and I think it goes back to this, like that people don't look at what they look like what they are going through doesn't mean that they're not going
Mm-hmm.
through stuff. I think the key here is to be empathetic, whether you're a physician, whether you're a friend or a partner.
Mm-hmm.
Is sometimes we don't even talk about what we're going through because we don't want to just seem like
I think we talk only about five. I told somebody one time when I told somebody, I said, I tell you people only like 10% of it. I don't even tell you.
exactly,
At that time, I was still going through it. So you're confused. I am more confused because I am the one experiencing it. Nobody understands.
exactly,
I went
exactly.
to, I said, I couldn't write. So I went to see an educational psychologist. So she did some numerical tests and some other tests. And she's like, Your verbal your verbal skills are your strongest from what I can see. I can see yes, you're struggling in certain areas. I can see yes, you have brain fogs and you're hesitating in certain areas. But when it comes to speaking, that's where you shine. Do more of that. So that's when I was thinking of doing a PhD. I was like, I can't be unable to assimilate new information. I was unable to assimilate new information. I will read it, and the moment I put my head up like this, I've forgotten what I've read. So we then discovered that I had Irene syndrome. It has to do with my eyes not converging when I look at stuff. And it has always been like that. So that's something I have experienced for years. First time I wore glasses in my life was when I was going in to see you. I went for to see the optician, and then he gave me, he was so upset. I'm like, why is this guy getting upset unnecessarily? He was like, why didn't you come to us? I'm like, why are you shouting? He then puts, because it was like, read the stuff on the wall, and I couldn't read anything. And then he got angry. Why didn't you come since blah blah blah, blah. I'm like, why are you angry? Then he puts a lens. I screamed. I was like, so this is how people see. I was like, so this is how people see. Oh my goodness, this is wonderful. I thought that my eyes were better. Then I saw, I kept complaining about my reading and then everything going blurred and stuff. I kept complaining, and that's one thing I was pushing. And then I saw a lady. She said, oh, they referred me to Amy, one other professor like that. And she said, your eyes don't converge when you read. They're diverging now. So it's affecting your brain. I was like,
That's so stressful because they should come together and focus to be able to read what you're
should
reading.
focus. So it's still like that. Your eyes don't converge when you're reading. So you have convergence insufficiency. I was like, and it seems
Oh,
you've had it for
no.
a long time, but you've trained yourself in a way. So your brain is stressed up. So I was like, okay, she then says, go and see this lady and she will do some therapy with you, reading therapy with you. So I started going to this lady and I was seeing her privately. We got talking. And I still kept complaining that the exercise, although I will be honest, I wasn't doing all the exercises because to me they felt stupid, because she would say, put your hand like this, okay, look, it's blurred until it gets clear. It never gets clear for me. I'll keep on drawing it closer. It's still not clear. Okay, it's clear. It's not clear. And to me, that was just silly. She's like, you're exercising and you're training your eyes. You have
Your
to train
eyes. So
your
you've more than
eyes.
compensated for it.
So after I've more than compensated for it. So then one day I just kept complaining to her. She just said, hold on a second. And then she gave me a book to read. I read it. And then she put a filter on it. And I was like, what did you do? I could see 10 times clearer than I had ever seen in my life. And she was like, this is amazing. And she put a pink one. She now put different colors. She then said, read. I read. She said, reading improved 25%. People's readings that improved 25% have what they call Irene syndrome. It's not common. There are only a few people in the world. I am so excited to meet you. I know I should not say that, but she was so excited. And when she put the blue one, my reading improved like 35%. She was like, okay, so blue is your lens. So I
Oh,
have
I see.
lenses that I read.
So happy with reading.
I'm like a bodyguard, so I don't really wear them as often as I should. But to help me with reading and my concentration. So if I had just stopped with wearing the glasses and I had not continued saying there's something wrong when I read, I will not have found out what was actually wrong with me, because it
Mm-hmm.
was a battle. And the funny thing is, I actually love reading.
I don't doubt
That's
that.
what I do for fun.
And I think the moral of the story here is that for those that are listening to this, and you maybe even if your symptoms don't mirror what DK talked about, what I talked about, is keep advocating for yourself. You are going to be the best advocate you're going to have. That a
Mm-hmm.
particular doctor who's an expert in the field doesn't seem to listen to you. Like, I don't see, technically to me as a doctor matters not as much as a kind doctor. Like, I'll take a kind doctor who's like
Yeah.
like maybe middle. As long as you finish medical school, there has to be something in your brain, right? I would take a
Yeah.
kind, genuine doctor, someone that can sit down with me and then we can talk like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what I know you have all of this going on, but which one can we start with? Like, have a conversation with me. Don't talk over my head. Don't try to like mask the problem in a way to
Mm-hmm.
make yourself feel good. Like, I'll
Mm-hmm.
take a doctor like that than all these experts who don't even know who you are. And for a lot of gynecological issues, sadly there are a lot of men, that are male gynecologists. And I hate to be sexist about this. half of the time they don't even know what they're talking about when it comes to like the things you're going through. Now they have I'm not talking about the knowledge that they hold, no. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about those the experiential knowledge that they don't even know. Some of them don't want to listen. We've had some very good doctors. I've fired a lot of doctors in my life. I have, I've fired a lot more doctors than the number of breasts that I have, which is, this is significant. So keep advocating. Don't let your experience in one doctor make you feel like, oh wow, nobody cares about me. Keep
Exactly.
pushing that door until you find a doctor that can advocate for you. DK, we don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to ask you this. So for a lot of things you're going through, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, Ehlers-Danlos, and then Marfan's, it's just a lot. Even though I'm in the science field, I knew a little bit of it, but like, and I hate to put you on that pedestal, which I think a lot of doctors would do, like, wow, only you, all of this. So I'm curious to know, like, thinking about your childhood, because I think the underlying thing about this, a lot of these are autoimmune, and if you go back to the theory, they're due to inflammation. And some of the
Mm-hmm.
things that can cause inflammation, from what I'm learning now, is trauma. It might not be the cause of it, as far as how I put it. Some of the it can be embedded in it. And if your
Mm-hmm.
body doesn't metabolize that trauma,
Mm-hmm.
then it gets deposited in you. And in a very corporal sense of it, your immune system, your drainage system, they start becoming very clogged, and then all of these manifestations. So like
Mm-hmm.
endometriosis, a lot of these autoimmune issues, they've traced it to trauma. Now I know you talked to us about your childhood. Would you think of looking back now? And I'm not trying to like say, oh, because
Mm-hmm.
somebody told you I love you as a kid, that's why you're like this. Is there just some things that maybe your family dynamic, or maybe like a trauma in your childhood that you can link to some of these things that are happening?
This is something I have thought about for a while, even with my doctors, because they said, when did this start? Where did it start? When did it get worse? I said, it got worse when I first of all moved. It got really worse when I got into uni. But when I was in secondary school, it was actually still bad. So because first of all, it was like maybe it was moving from home, it was traumatic for you. I was excited to leave the house. What do you mean by it was traumatic? So we've tried to trace it and we've not been able to, because it started from when I was really, really young, from what they understood. I am on. I have been told that there should be a trigger, that a trigger event. For most people, it's an accident. Some people, it's different things that have led to them. Oh, someone's like, oh, I had an accident and then this happened. I know when I was small, there was a time they wanted to amputate my hand, and we still don't understand, because of the way the medical system is. We don't even have those records and exactly what was wrong. I just know that they were supposed to amputate my hand or something like that. And my mom was like, okay, give me my daughter, I'm going back home. And she went and prayed with me. And I got ill completely. And we went back to the hospital the next day. And the doctor was like, okay, you changed your doctors, because my sisters and I were all almost the same size. They had to start swapping us to start saying, oh, they did tests for everybody. And they were like, oh, there's nothing wrong with her again. So now what led to my aunt getting to that level is what I have been trying to understand. But no one can really remember. There are different theories. And I was a very, very rough child. I was someone I don't climb trees anymore, because I was told I fell from a tree when I was 3. I was always running. I was always everywhere. So I went from being very, very active to being kind of calm, which we've not been able to trace. So I think I spoke with someone and said, rather than forcing yourself to try and trace it, deal with the situation, deal with what you're going through currently. It's about understanding that, okay, I may not understand where it started, because even if we find out where it started, will it cure it?
Okay.
It's not going to cure it. If it's going to
Mm.
help me think better and change everything, and then I will get better, then it's something that I will really spend time trying to investigate. But I just gave up on investigating what the cause, because I think someone's own was childbirth, with the ladies I met. Someone was hereditary, and the family, there's Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I know there's hypermobility. My younger sister is hypermobile, but she doesn't have joint hypermobility syndrome. So when we discovered she was hypermobile also, so the doctors were like, probably your hypermobility is just being experienced in a different way from what is other people are. So we have not been able to
Been able to
say
trace
this
it.
positive. But it's a question that I was really bothered about from 2014 to 2018, because
Mm.
I got them 2018 and well, I was reading everything. That's when I found out about this theory and everything. I was reading everything to find out. Like I'm someone that if I understand, I'll be able to comprehend, I'll be able to make it part of my life. But once I did not understand, I was confused. I needed to know exactly what was going on. But I was like, okay, do I need an answer? An answer could help, I won't lie.
Yeah.
But if I am not finding that answer, then what do I do about it? Do I now go into stress thinking, oh, I don't know my trigger. Everybody else knows their trigger. Everybody can pinpoint when it started. I can't really pinpoint that. I know I've always had migraines. I've always had eye issues because it's like your brain has been stressed so much with you. First of all, you did not realize you were meant to wear glasses. You were seeing that way. So you put so much pressure on your brain. You've done quite a lot that has put pressure on your brain, and then you love reading again. So for my pastime, you see me picking Famous Five or Secret Seven or one of those other enlightening books. That's what I did for fun. Every other person, if I wasn't running or running with my brother and his friends or running or doing anything, I was reading. So it's a bit difficult to kind of pinpoint to say, oh, this is exactly what triggered mine.
What triggers it?
Unfortunately, I'm able to do that.
I think that's fine. That's fine. Thanks for letting me know that. I'm always, because I think a lot, and
No.
I always want to go to, like, the root cause, so that we can know the kind of demons we're battling. But in your case, perhaps you never find the answer to that. But I agree with you. Even if you know, then what? So what? It still
Mm-hmm.
doesn't change what's happening right now.
If
Now, quickly
knowing
before you
could
go.
trust it, if knowing could,
Exactly. I know, right? If only knowledge can, like, save us.
I'm like, all
Unlike
right,
Harry Potter.
this is Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
let us know. Now we need to know. So I've not put. I was putting too much pressure on myself to get to the root of it all.
Yeah.
And once I spoke with someone, I spoke with my mentor, and Pastor was like, what's it going to change? Because
Exactly.
you're stressing yourself on, oh, I want to know what caused it. I want to know what caused it. What is it going to change? If
It
it's
won't
not going
change
to
much.
change anything, you
It
are
won't change
and
much.
over. It's something that wants you to, you pray about, and God says, oh, this is exactly what it is. You will know, and then you will know what to do. Probably somebody else that's going to go through it, difficulty not to go through what you went through. But if it's not going to change anything, don't bother yourself at all. So that's
That's
where
so
I reach.
true.
Sometimes I find it. Sometimes I'm sad when I die. You know, because when it's just like, oh, mine is hereditary. Oh, mine is this. Mine is, and I'm like, I don't know.
But it's just the
So,
knowledge, though. It's just the knowledge, but it still doesn't change a lot. It's just knowing,
mm-hmm,
okay, this is how I'm going to manage myself. If people like this will
mm-hmm.
trigger me, not like this will trigger me. Now, before you go quickly, and we're rounding off soon, people. If you have questions, this is time for you to shoot it out so I can ask DK. What helped you? What are your coping mechanisms? I'm not talking about cleaning. I'm not talking about posting on Facebook. I'm not talking about cleaning the house or cooking. I'm not talking about that. What are some of the positive coping mechanisms that you can share
um,
with us? If anyone listen to this can, adopt some of them.
I think
The healthy ones, DK, the very healthy ones.
the LDR for me was taking it to God in prayer and not blaming myself or blaming God for it. So first of all, I was like, is it a punishment for something I did, something that somebody else did? You start asking yourself lots of questions because, like, every other person living a normal life, every other child can go to the island or to the beach. I can't go to all these places that everybody else is going to growing up. So you blame yourself. That's it. So number one, take it to God in prayer if you're a Christian. Number two thing is don't blame yourself and don't be in denial. There's sometimes we're in pain and denial. Denial makes it worse. You know the pain is coming. You know you have a flare up and you have to sit down. You're still trying to prove to the world that you can. The world doesn't need anything. You don't need to prove anything to the world. The only person you owe is you. You owe yourself that opportunity to survive, that opportunity to have a good life and to thrive and to live your life to the best of your ability. You're in competition with any single person. You are living your life on your own terms. If you have to stay indoors, do what you have to do. Like now with this COVID period, I made up my mind that I'm staying indoors, and that's me. Every other person could say, I am." That's fine. I am not in competition with you. I have accepted what I am doing, and that works for me. If it
Yeah.
doesn't work for you, I'm not going to explain any why it should work for me. So acceptance helps. Asking for help helps. That's
Yeah.
saying a lot. But then it's to call me, oh, do you need that? The old me was going to, I lost you there. Okay, you're back. I know I've had to let go of. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
My village book came briefly to say hi to me. I have no idea what happened there, but I was listening to
Oh my goodness. So I have accepted acceptance. Don't blame yourself. Don't blame any other person. If anybody is going to give you help, receive it. If anybody is going to cause you stress, know your triggers. Know your triggers. If you understand, I'm an introvert. I understand that I have to be alone so many times to be able to thrive, to be able to think. And then my migraines are bad. I have to lie down and shut down the lights. I do that. I feel guilty having to call people to cancel. Sometimes I know I don't. It's very emotional to call and say, I'm sorry, I have to cancel. But then I've had to explain so much to certain people and open up. So being open, if they are responsible for the way they receive it. Sometimes some people say, oh, you're giving TMI, you're giving too much information. And I'm like, it's too much information for you, but for me, it's just the tip of the iceberg. So I'm just letting you know. But if you have people like that are negative and going to speak negatively to you, to the best of your ability, if you can, then draw the line, set boundaries for them, cut them off. Do not let them know what's going on or what's not going on. Oh, are you coming today? Oh, this one, she will never come for anything. People don't realize that those snap remarks can affect us negatively. So before they even say it, you already know what they're going to say and you know what your response is going to be. I've learned to build a stronger, I think Tutu and I went to a restaurant one time. I took my own pasta when I just started my diet. I took my own pasta along with me.
And they allowed you. They want to hear in the US because that's
People
like a hazard right
they
there.
asked for it. Person was telling them, our diet is this. They said, please don't have to bring our own pasta. So everybody was eating all they want, and I was having my own pasta. But I think for me, my approach has just been live life every day. Take it as it comes. Pace yourself when you can. Like I've taken naps today in between my waking up and I call by 3 o'clock. I took a nap, then I took a little nap again before. Not that I napped, I rested again before I came on this call. So I understand that pacing myself is important. What do I mean by pacing myself? There's a minimum level of activities that I'm allowed to do every day. So before, what I do is when I have the energy, with chronic fatigue, there are days, sometimes it's difficult to open your mouth and say, oh, I can't just go downstairs to do something. Oh, you're coming to see me. Unfortunately, I've used up all my spoons today. I can't come downstairs to see you. If you if you can come upstairs, come upstairs. Sometimes when some delivery guys come and they're like, oh, come down and receive your delivery. And I'm like,
I'm not
this
able to
guy
get down.
know how many spoons? I
It
said, I
takes
have
to
to
get
call
down.
one company. I was like, if I wanted to pick it up myself, I would have ordered, I would have gone outside. But I placed an order. And I placed order because I wanted it to be delivered to my door, to my mine. So it's about understanding that spoons.
Yes, I was going to talk about the spoon theory once you're done to kind of wrap it up.
Talk about the spoons. How many spoons? Sometimes I can use my spoons for the week in a day. And then I know I'm in bed for 1 week. So 2016, 17, 18, I was always using up all my spoons and then I'll be in bed for like weeks. It was a disaster. Sometimes I'm supposed to be somewhere. I wake up that morning and realize that I have no spoon. Before going to bed, I've woken up in the morning, there is no spoon. I've suffered because of that. So I'll be like, all right, you're the one taking charge of today's meeting. I won't be able to make it. If I make it, people are all going to call the ambulance or something. We just stop and rest. But yeah, that's the spoon theory. Let me see what you want to say about it.
Oh, well, just to kind of like add to what you said about, the coping mechanisms you have. And I think you mentioned it without saying it. It's also the place of your friends and your social support. I think that's very, very important. So for those who don't have like maybe supportive family members, and not supportive in the sense that they don't really care about you. But let's face it, sometimes it can be a lot for some family members to be able to understand what you're going through. And maybe you've tried explain, they still don't get it. That's fine. Find people that can really get you and find the tribe, find your community, find people like you where you can draw strength from. DK, are you still there? Hello?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Can you still hear me though? Okay, I guess you can. Yeah. And so in talking about the spoon theory, it fits into what you talked about the energy level. Can you see me now?
Yeah, we can see and hear.
I'm sorry, I don't know what's up with my my network. It's just anyways, I was talking about the place of social support and having family members. Some of them might not understand you because they are too familiar with you. That's okay. Find your tribe, find your group. I have groups that I belong to on Facebook for women who have endometriosis, and that helps to, number one, encourage me. Number two, make me realize that I'm not alone. And I also get a lot of tips to be able to live my life, the way I want it to be. Thanks to these people. And also, I have very supportive family members and friends. And I'm sure you've mentioned that as well. Now, let's talk about spoon theory, what it means. So this was actually, this concept was described by Christine Miserando. I think I might be Miserandino. I might be butchering her name. And this was as far back as 2003. She has lupus, and her friend was asking her, "Tell me what it's like to be like you. Like, I want to really understand what lupus is like. What's your day like as someone that has lupus?" And she was in a restaurant, so she asked for a lot of spoons.
Welcome back. You're muted.
I'm so sorry. Okay, what did you guys hear me say last? Is it a spoon? Did you hear about the spoon?
Yeah, she was in a restaurant and she asked for spoons.
So her friend was like, let's know what the day in your life is like. So she brought out spoons. So most healthy people start each day with an unlimited amount of spoons. So think of it, this is like your little privilege of like the spoons you have as a healthy person. You can do whatever you want. You can spend whatever you want. Sometimes you even have like extra spoons left at the end of the day. But people that have chronic illnesses, it could be mental, it could be physical, they don't even have this amount of spoon to spend with. So let's divide the spoon, whatever, into half. This is what some of them even start off with, which is like half of, like a little percentage of what you already have as a healthy person. So because of this, they need to be able to plan, to pick, to choose each and every activity they need to do every day. So like what DK was saying about pacing herself. Like you wake up and be like, I can't do this today. I'm going to shift it off to next week because it's going to take a lot of your energy. It's kind of like your Wi-Fi situation or your data situation. Yeah, I'm not going to watch this thing on Netflix. Let me just call somebody or maybe go on Instagram. Now, you have to also know which of the days of the week you're going to spend your spoons on. Now, if you have a big things planned for a day, like maybe you're going on a trip or you have to do something big, you have to make sure that you have enough spoons. And if you do too much, you're going to run, out of spoons and there's not going to be any spoons left. And so it's about making choices and also choosing the rest of the day wisely, because once you run out of spoon, then everything is cancelled. And I won't lie to you, there's sometimes I have friends who used to cancel a lot on me. And it was until we had a conversation like, okay, what's going on? Because before then, I'd just be like, oh, I don't want to invite you anymore to anything because I know you're going to cancel. Until you have that conversation with people, you won't understand what they're going through. If you think it's frustrating for us that people are canceling on us, how frustrating do you think it to be on people that have to cancel on you? Now, some people are just flaky people. They will cancel on you. We're not talking about this kind of people. But some people, if you're coping with some illness, it's not that you don't want to be a part of it. It's just understanding that when I say no, know that I mean it as a no. And I think this is a part of public education. We need to keep educating the public as well, and our friends especially. That you saw me dancing in a club yesterday doesn't mean I want to do it again today. I have to go tie my legs on the screen after that dance of yesterday because I'm done. I'm wiped out. So I think, the social isolation that comes with having chronic illness is bad enough. Let's not add to that. Let's be more supportive. Let's, ask questions like, okay, I noticed that you cancel a lot. Is everything okay? Rather than just, go like, I'm not going to invite this person. Like I said, some people are really flaky. You need to cut them out of your life. But, DK is not a flaky person. I think,
No, with the spoon sharing, for example, if I'm going out, okay, I have 12 spoons for the day. Doing my makeup will be 2 spoons. Getting to the destination will be 2 spoons. Sitting throughout what you're saying is 2 spoons. That's already how many spoons gone?
Half of the spoon
gone. Half of the spoons. I haven't eaten or cooked. I haven't even getting on the phone before when I was on medication used to be like a couple of spoons. So I've used up all my spoons before I even step out of the house, because then I think about the ride. I think about if there are stairs, I have to take stairs down. I think about the fact that I went for an event once, and when I got there, Juma looked at me and she was like, okay, are you here as someone that has an Ehlers-Danlos?
One of the organizers.
I was like, oh no, I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. She was like, how do you look this good? I said, it's called a makeup artist. So I get a makeup artist and sit down. Then I'll take a taxi there. So that has saved me some spoons. And then she goes, where is your stick? Every other person here has a stick or a kind of support. I was like, oh, I don't walk long distances. So it's just about understanding, because I already understand that if I have 12 spoons, getting ready, if I have to do my make, showering first, we take his own spoon. Having breakfast, we take his own spoon. So the things that come to you naturally, that you just do and move on, are spoons for me. So if sometimes people are coming to my house, I'm like, if I know who is coming, I'll be like, oh yeah, you can come. If it's somebody that I know I have to clean up, I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry, I have to wear wig.
Yeah.
That is spoon.
Yeah.
I have to wear. Messi said, DK, we see you the way nobody else sees you. I said, the world sees me prim and proper. You guys see me in my element. So it is people should count
It's a
on
privilege.
one that can see me in every single situation. But I think the light-hearted nature I take towards it as it's not to people think it's denial. It's not denial. It's just acceptance and moving on.
Exactly.
But
I know what
spoon theory helped me. Spoon theory helped me. When I read it, I was so excited. I was like,
and I encourage everybody to go read it. If you have somebody in your life, which I think is most likely why you guys are listening to this, because you know somebody already, or you are somebody already in the throes of this, go read more about the spoon theory. Now, finally, where can people find you on Instagram and a little bit about your creativity?
okay, so I live on Instagram.
And she has wonderful content, by the way, especially for introverts.
I love Instagram. I love Instagram. I've always loved it, but I decided to fall in love with my own Instagram page. I've done Instagram for others, but I decided to take myself as my own client and treat Instagram as like magazine. So DK Jonah, just find me on Instagram. On YouTube, it's DIY branding with DK Jonah. I'm running a content creation series where I'm looking at the mindset of content creation, because I see that most people go into content creation with fear. Oh, what will people say? What will people think? What can I do? But I'm looking at a positive spin towards content creation, and I've been doing a series every Saturday. I did one today. It's DIY branding with DK Jonah. So I love content creation. I love social media. I love branding. I fell in love with branding in 2016 again, when I decided not to do a PhD, and I realized that, I had to change my career path again, because initially I had changed it from doing international relations because of my health, saying I couldn't travel. Then I went into customer service and HR. I said, okay, I was going to get a desk job. I got a desk job. The desk job wasn't what it was. I said, okay, I'll get an academic field. I can be a lecturer. And then I went. So then I changed my mind, and I was like, the underlying thing about all these things is I love branding and social media. So that's what I do right now. I help people find out their creative sides and create a social media profile that will suit their brand personality and for their audience. So yeah, that's what I do. I also have a podcast. It's called The Introvert's Guide to Content Creation, where I interview fellow introverts. Yes, I'm an introvert and I'm a proud one. And we talk about
content. We still love you. We try.
We love you people, and we love extroverts. We love extroverts. So I actually love extroverts, because somebody has to be the life of the party. I can't be the life of the party, so I need.
It's like that thing I do right now. People say, "Oh no, I have black friends as well. I can't be racist." That's exactly what you're doing right there. I can see right through you. I know.
But that's the first time it sounded. Well, you're right. It does sound like that. But please, we need somebody to be the life of the party. You need
the blabber mouth, right?
So that then you can manage the bags and everything and sit down and just be calmly looking at them and everything. Yeah, life is fun.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I deeply appreciate your strength. I'm not gonna call you a strong woman, because I feel like that word, you probably heard it so many times. But I want to say that you don't look like everything you've gone through. It's just the grace of God. And I know that your life, like everybody's life, even more importantly, your life has a purpose. And I'm sure if I were to ask you, like, if you could take all of this away, would you want to? I've had people ask me that, and I go like, no, like, even though it's hard, it's helped define my person. It's helped me see empathy in others, and I can sense suffering in others. I'm able to connect more. Otherwise, because my personality is to get things done and then move away. I don't care about you if you're lacking behind, like, catch up with me, or don't worry. But I think in what we've gone through, you're able to slow down, and that gift to slow down, people don't understand that it's a gift to be able to slow down, because people don't have that barometer. So in even in the suffering, I know that there's a lot that we can be thankful for. And I'm not trying to minimize everything you've gone through. I thank God for your life, and I pray that He continues to give you the strength to keep doing everything you're doing. I know it's
Amen.
also the first time you're actually naming your diagnosis. Like, because even when you and I talked, when you told me all the stuff, I had to write it down, and the pharmacist in me started thinking about, like, oh no, like thinking about just the drug plan, like a lot of some of the drugs can even interact with other drugs, and like, this is
Yes,
a
they are
lot. This
laughing.
is a
The
lot.
medications are interacting. It's
Exactly.
crazy.
I'm like, this is a lot. This is a lot. And I'm sure you didn't even tell me everything because you don't know everything,
It's
but
true.
you
It's
are a
true. I
wonder.
forget some sometimes, but it's true.
Exactly. You are a wonder, and I thank God for that. And
Thank
I'm
you so
deeply
much.
encouraged by you. And
Oh,
yes, yes, yes. Please keep shining. Know that you're a beautiful person, and I thank you, the Kukolas, especially Tutu, for
thank
introducing
you,
us.
Tutu. Thank you,
Yeah, yeah,
Tutu.
yeah, yeah. And well, this is it. Thank you all for being part of this platform. If you love this, check the More Sibyl podcast on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. And if you want to share your story like this, I shared the Coca-Cola story in July. I think this is how DK wanted to come on the show as well. So if you're here listening to this and you need someone to like explore your story with, consider us, because I want to connect people. I want you to not to feel like you're alone in your journey. So reach out to me. I'll be more than happy. In fact, the honor is gonna be mine to be able to share your story. Thank you all for being a part of this today, and stay safe. Love you all, and I still remain your host, Sibyl. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much, DK.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, bye.